Alright, hey guys, this is Chipz here, back with another Cardfight Vanguard deck list profile thingy. BT17 just came out the other day, and me being the Nova Grappler player that I am, of course, I'm playing the new Raizer Legion deck. It might be a little similar to all the ones that you've seen already from other videos and other deck lists on forums and online. But at least more importantly, you get to see all the nice stuff in English. So, without further ado, let's get started. For my starter, I'm running the Grade 3 Searcher, Transmigrating Evolution Miraioh. So, we all know the Grade 3 Searchers. It's good in a deck like this, just because, you know, you can build up Soul, which you can use later to probably Soul Blast out. But more importantly, I run 7 Grade 3s in this deck. Usually, anything less than 8 I feel uncomfortable with when it comes to Grade 3, so that's why I feel fine running him. Energy Raizer is the other choice you can do. He's okay, but you kind of want to keep rear guards on field in this deck, so that's why I'm not like the biggest fan of him, but he's still not a completely bad choice. And then we got 4 heal, beautiful Raizer girl Kate, kind of funny, but whatever. We're looking at 4 draw. These are all the new triggers, by the way. We're looking at Raizer Crew. Apparently, I guess these are the guys that like fuel up the robot. I guess I'm honestly not too sure. 4 crit, or actually 8 crit. So it's 4 heal, 4 draw, 8 crit. For the old Raizer crit and for the new one. It's really just kind of a very basic trigger lineup. You need the 4 draws just because Nova Grappler has never ever been a deck that creates hand advantage. So that's why 4 is kind of a minimum in this deck. I mean, you could run more, but personally I don't like that playstyle. And then crits are crits. I'll explain later, but like, you know, you kind of want, sometimes you can kill your opponent at, like when they're at 3 damage, which is always nice. And I've seen stands work in a Ultimate Raizer deck, but you kind of lose a little bit of synergy when going against certain decks, so that's why I'm sticking with the crit draw heal formula. And then since I'm on grade 0s, I might as well point out that yes, I am running Cat Butler. I'm only running 2, not because it's Japanese meta, but that's just because it's my choice. I mean, for those of you who don't know, it's basically when you're in Legion and let's say he's on the rear guard circle. If you're in Legion and that attack doesn't hit, you can retire a Cat Butler and your Legion mate stands up. Or technically speaking, it would only be your Legion mate, because this lets you stand up a grade 2 Vanguard when the attack doesn't hit. But because of a ruling, you can stand up the entire Legion Vanguard. So you can basically stand up, you know, a 20k column, if not more, depending on triggers and boosters and all that. And, you know, it's kind of... people have kind of just turned the deck into a Cat Butler Raizer deck, which is, you know, cool, whatever. It's meta, I guess. But personally, I don't think you should build your deck around, you know, 2 card combinations. There's a lot of deck lists online that have like 4 Cat Butler, 3 Cat Butler, and then cards that are focused around getting to your Cat Butlers. And it's like, if the deck isn't good without Cat Butler, then you didn't make a good deck. So I try to make my deck good enough so I don't need Cat Butler to win. Rather, Cat Butler is just a nice bonus if I do get it. That's why I only run 2, just because, you know, I don't want to mess up my grade ratio too much. And I want to make myself ready for any situation. So that's why there's only 2. Like I said, people will run more. You could run more if you want to, but this is just my personal build, so this is only just for inspiration, of course. Now we're going to move on to the grade 1s. We're running 2 Screamin and Dancin Announcer Shouts. It's your Gojo clone. This is the Restless unit to drop a card and draw a card, and this is really good. This helps you get to Legion much faster. In the Raizer deck, since you're getting a crit, you want to get to Legion as fast as possible, preferably sooner than your opponent, so you can start getting those crits in. And you know, 7k, never a bad choice to put in your deck. Next, I'm running 2 Cannonraizer, the 10k grade 1 attacker for Raizers. I've seen people tech in like what's that one card? I've seen people tech in Jetraizer, which is the blank marsh clone that lets you stand up a unit if he boosts a hit that an attack that hit the Vanguard. But personally, like I said earlier, I don't like getting rid of my rear guards in this deck. I want to keep as many on my field as I can, and also having a grade 1 10k attacker makes it very versatile. Depending on things get retired or killed off, you know, you can always move him back, move him up, and he'll always be able to attack for something. So that's why I personally like running the 10ks. Never a bad choice. Another good card that you're gonna need in this deck is Carvingraizer. I run 3, 4 would be nice, but I don't have the space. And he's basically, during your turn, all of the units in the same column as this card get plus 2,000. So basically, let's say you have this, and let's say you have like a 9k grade 2. During your turn, that grade 2 is always going to be at 11,000, since the plus 2,000 is always during your entire turn. And then behind a Legion Vanguard, it's plus 2 for each unit, so it's a 10k booster for a Legion unit, which is very good, very good, very good. He makes some really good combos with like dual flare and some of the other cards, so I will, which I'll go over later on once I get there. But definitely you want to run at least 3, just because he's a really good card, and since most of the attackers you'll have up front are going to be Raizers. So next up we got 2 Energy Charger, which is the Soul Blast 2 to draw 1, obviously a good choice in the deck. Since they're only 5k, I only run 2. You still want to make some decent numbers. And then finally I run 4 the Quintet Wall. I don't run the Twin Blader. I tried a little bit of it, but I realized that with the Quintet Walls, you save so much hand power. You might deck out faster, but preferably in this kind of deck, you don't usually have the game running too long, so this is good. And the deck doesn't counterblast besides one of the grade 3s, so definitely a good choice to go with the Quintet Wall Shieldraizer. And also has Raizer in the name, so if you ever have to push your game and you have to put them on field, you have the nice assurance of knowing that they're Raizer cards, so that was good. Grade 2 is a little, also a little techie-ish, but and I'll show you the text that I put in. 8 of the slots are kind of already chosen for you at this point. So I'm running 4 copies of Ultimate Raizer Dual Flare. He's the Legion mate for your Mega Flare, and his skill is when your Vanguard, the turn that your Vanguard Legions and your Vanguard attacks, you state him back up, and he gets plus 5,000. He's kind of like the new Mars Blaukluger, if you want to call it that. So it was a really good card. So whether or not you Legion with either of the Raizer cards, you know, he'll get that skill, so he's always good. Next up, I'm running 4 of the other Legion mate in my deck, which is Phoenixraizer Flame-wing, your 12k attacker. There is a little bit of standing up in this deck, so definitely you want those 12ks to go off, and you know, 12 is a good number. And yeah, like usually you run 4 of any Legion mate anyways, so that's that. And then last 3 slots for my cards, I've got like 2 different tech ins here. I'm running 2 Street Bouncer. His skill is when he's placed on a rear guard circle, you can rest him and the unit behind him, and you draw a card. And he's not too bad. He's an 8k base, but you know, usually I'll use his skill. Like I'll probably have my starter here in the side rear guard circle, and then I'll put down a Street Bouncer, rest the column, draw a card, and then next turn I'll just intercept with him. So he's pretty good, just cause you know, more hand power, you know. And then yeah, because I don't really like the other options that I have. And then finally I have a 10k vanilla Marineraizer High-torpedo, just your basic 10k. He's nice to ride him as your grade 2 for the extra defense, and then just in general, you know, just nice to have one in there. If you want to really pull the Cat Butler, like guaranteed, people like to run Frozen Ogle, or Frozen Ogle, whatever. He's actually a Spike Brothers card, but since, you know, there's a lot less clan restrictions, you can run him, and basically he's a card where when the turn that you Legion and you attack with Frozen Ogle, you counterblast 1, put that card into Soul, and then you can choose any card from your deck and put it onto Rearguard Circle. So you can actually pick like a Cat Butler and put it on your Rearguard Circle and then attack with your Vanguard. So it's a pretty cool combo. I'm going to try it out. I actually have some coming in, but like I said, I don't really want to rely just on Cat Butler, because that's not really how you should make your deck, but whatever, that's just me. And then, of course, the stars of the show. To move on to our grade 3s, 3 of Phoenixraizer Drill-wing. His skill is when he attacks a Vanguard and if you're in Legion, you can counterblast 2, and you can stand 2 other rear guards, up to 2 other rear guards, as long as they have rear guards behind them, I think. Yeah, so let's say you're Legion with this guy, and you attack, and you attack with your Legion Vanguard. You counterblast 2, and you stand up to 2 front units as long as they have a unit in the back. So if there's an empty space here, you can't use that skill if he's rested. So you gotta watch out for that. You kind of have to have a very hefty field for him. And then the other skill is he gets plus 2,000 when you if you have another unit in the middle column, he gets plus 2,000 when he attacks the Vanguard. So he makes for decent numbers, especially with the Carvingraizer, since he's a 10k booster for a Legion unit, so he can hit for 33, which is really good. But more importantly, at least he gets another little bit of a bonus for attacking Vanguard, unlike the next guy, and the real star of the show of this entire deck. 4 copies of Ultimate Raizer Mega Flare. Another Legion unit. His skill is when you're in Legion and he attacks, if you have 4 or more rested units, he gains a crit. And there's a lot of confusion sometimes about this guy. So like, let's say you have Rearguard, and let's say that your Legion, which is right here. Basically, the Legion counts as 2 units on their own. So let's say you attack, and you attack with the other Rearguard, and you attack. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So just remember that the Vanguard does count as 2 units. So you can pull it off with just 2 Rearguards. And then his other skill is when his attack hits a Vanguard, if you have a Raizer unit in the same column as your Vanguard, so in the back center circle, you can stand another Rearguard if his attack hits and you have another unit in the back. So pretty good for early game, and then, you know, even if your opponent lets us hit mid game, they get a crit and then they have to deal with another unit standing up, which is always good. And yeah, so the card is really good. Like I said, a lot of people just love, you know, comboing this up with Cat Butler, because, you know, you attack, try Cat Butler, attack again, and, you know, you get a lot of hand advantage, and, you know, hitting for a crit twice is always nice. But like I said, try to make your deck so it's not just about Cat Butler and Mega Flare. You've really got, like, to make your deck able to handle all situations, including a situation where you don't get Cat Butler, because it's gonna happen. You have to be ready for that. But otherwise, I'm just rambling on about Cat Butler then. Otherwise, pretty good deck. You know, it's been topping in Japan, and, you know, I've used it a couple times against some other people, and it's really, really good. I like it a lot. You know, Novas are my thing, so obviously, you know, I'm gonna love my Nova Grapplers, and of course I love this deck a lot. It's a lot of fun. Super hyper aggressive. There's not a whole lot of strategy to this deck. There's not a whole lot of counter blasting or soul blasting or any kind of super strategy. I mean, of course there's a lot of moves you can do, but most of all, like any Nova Grappler deck, it's all about pure offense, and that's what this deck does. So it's definitely a lot of fun. There's a lot of different Tekkens you can do with all the cards that are coming out now, and all the cards that have already been out. So definitely play around this deck. I like it a lot, so you guys should definitely consider building it. And yeah, I have some upcoming videos soon for some card fights with this deck that I'll be uploading. And I think that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll be seeing you guys in the future. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and all that good stuff, because, you know, I love it, and I love all of you, so that'd be very much appreciated. Alright, guys, bye bye.